G'day guys, how's it going? I'm Aaron Whitnall, this is ACW Sport. Now before we get into anything, just want to apologise for being a little bit late with my vlog this week. Just had a few personal things going on, but I now have them all sorted and everything is good with the world again. But yeah, just want to say thank you for being patient with me. Now, on to the Premier League, and there is only one place to start this week, and that is with Chelsea, who are having an absolute nightmare. Oh, 4-1 away at Watford. Never thought I'd see a scoreline like that involving Chelsea. It's the first time in 23 years that they've now conceded 3 or more goals in 2 consecutive games. It's just unbelievable what's going on with Conte. I mean, everyone thought that when Jose lost the players that is how bad it could get. But, I mean, at this rate, if things aren't sorted out soon, Chelsea are going to miss out on the Champions League again with another world-class manager at the helm. And you just have to wonder, how many times can this cycle go on before Chelsea are broken as a club? Now, this wasn't a situation where they played well and unlucky and all that. Chelsea from what I saw, looked absolutely awful. And Bakayoko, again, putting in another disastrous performance. Now, don't get me wrong, his second yellow was harsh. But still, he deserved to be sent off just for the ill discipline alone. And the fact that he has been so poor recently. I mean, their sale of Matic to United now looks unbelievably awful. And it just makes me wonder. Chelsea have got Kante and Drinkwater, Leicester's Premier League winning midfield, sitting there, not being used. Kante is obviously, but Drinkwater, give Kante and Drinkwater a chance together. These guys won the league as a partnership. Why is that not being utilised more? I mean, this is just my thoughts and opinions, but Chelsea fans, I'd love to hear what you have to say. But look, Chelsea were embarrassing. They've only won 2 games in the last 10 games. It looks like Conte is going in the summer, and it looks like Luis Enrique is going to be replacing him. Chelsea fans, please comment below. Let me know, do you think Enrique would be a good replacement for Conte if he went? And do you think Conte's going at all? So please let me know your thoughts. As for Watford, I don't want to take anything away from Watford because they were phenomenal in this game, deserved the 3 points. All right, it was awkward because the first goal came from a dive from Deulofeu, who had a masterful game other than that dive, which was horrible to see. But no, fair play to them. I mean, Troy Deeney put the penalty away well, although he had a bit of a controversial celebration, shall we say, by sticking his middle finger up at the crowd to let them all know that he's still here and that the rumours about him going away were rubbish. So interesting way of dealing with things there, Troy. But anyway, no, look, Chelsea got back into the game wonderfully through Hazard, through what was effectively against the run of play, really, but still unbelievable goal. And then Yamat, out of nowhere, only minutes later, the fullback, with an unbelievable run, a couple of 1-2s, managed to get the shot away, finds the bottom corner. Unbelievable goal to give Watford the lead again. They then double their lead because Deulofeu goes in, got a deflection to get past Courtois, and, then all of a sudden, moments later, Pereira finishes stunningly to make it 4-1. Everyone's in shell shock. Chelsea are in ruins. And yeah, it's another, big defeat for Chelsea. Massive 3 points for Watford. And yeah, Chelsea, they have another Monday Night Football game next week against West Brom at home. That is now a massive, massive game for Chelsea. Because depending on how things could go this weekend, they could find themselves outside of the top 4 by the time that game kicks off. But yeah, bitter defeat for Chelsea there. Another massive game from this weekend. And this one, I mean, for me, this would have been the headline game if it wasn't for that Chelsea defeat. This, again, we've had some phenomenal games of football this season. And this one came at Anfield where Tottenham and Liverpool played out a 2-2 draw. Sorry, I thought it was Tottenham and Tottenham for a second there. But yeah, played out a 2-2 draw. And, I mean, this game literally had everything. But look, first things first, Spurs couldn't have got off to a worse start if they tried. Literally gave the ball to Mo Salah. Eric Dyer with an awful back pass. Salah with the easiest chance he's had all season to give Liverpool the lead after only 2 minutes. Perfect start for Liverpool. And in the first half, Liverpool were doing to Tottenham what Tottenham had done to Manchester United earlier on in the week. They were that dominant. But Spurs held on, managed to get to half-time with the score only being 1-0. And I really wish I had been a fly on the wall in that dressing room because I would have been so interested to have heard what Pochettino would have had to say because, it was a really good second-half performance when they came out for it. And Spurs were pretty unlucky to not leave with all 3 points in the end. But I mean, look, there are still some controversial points to talk about. First of all, Dele Alli diving and getting booked for it. He needs to stop doing stupid things like that. He is too good a player to need to dive. Like, seriously, stop doing it, Dele. But aside from that, look, you played well, all right? But stop with the diving. As for the last 15 minutes, this is where the game really took off. Because first things first, we had the most stunning equalising goal from Victor Wanyama. I mean, 30 yards out, thunderbolt into the top corner. I'm not sure how fast he hit it, but no goalkeeper in the world would have been able to stop that. You could have had 3 or 4 goalkeepers on the line and they still wouldn't have stopped it. It was that good a strike. I'm pretty sure Pochettino didn't even know Wanyama could do that. It's his first goal of the season, and without a shadow of a doubt, his best goal for Spurs and maybe the best goal of his entire career to date. Unbelievable. Did feel a little bit sorry for Karius because there was a lot of stick he got for punching the ball. But to be fair, it went 30 yards out. It was a decent punch. I'm just amazed that a defender or a midfielder from Liverpool didn't get there. I mean, back him up when he's actually clearing the ball well. But, I mean, look, comment below, let me know. Do you think he should have catched it? Do you think it was a bad punch? For me, I didn't think he did too badly. I just thought it was quite unlucky that Wanyama then pulled out a strike that he definitely could have done again if he tried it 100 times over. But yeah, massive, massive equaliser for Spurs. Then Spurs won a penalty in what was another major controversial moment because, all right, here's what was controversial about it. The ball was played through to Kane, who was in an offside position. It looked like Dejan Lovren got a touch. He did. And because of it, the referee gave a penalty. He then went over to the linesman and the mics picked it up. And this is what makes it awful and so controversial. Because the liner was saying, look, as far as I'm concerned, Kane was offside. But if it got a touch off of Lovren, he's not. The referee said, I can't be 100% sure if the ball touched Lovren or not. I'm giving a penalty. If you're not sure, how can you give a penalty? That doesn't make any sense. It's bad refereeing. I mean, he even tried to ask for video technology, but they weren't using video technology. And he asked so quickly before then saying, oh, I'm going to give a penalty. It was clearly he really didn't have a clue and was just going to give a penalty regardless. So I can understand why Liverpool was so livid. Now, the rules for the Premier League say that only if the ball takes an intentional touch off of the defender, as in, i.e., for example, when Dyer tried to pass it back to Lloris, Salah then got in and put the ball away, should Kane have been onside. However, it only took a deflection really off of Lovren because he miskicked it straight into the path of Kane. So, this is where it's a bit of a grey area because he was in an offside position. It took a touch off the defender, so it means he shouldn't have been in an offside position. But then it wasn't intentional, so he should be offside. So it should have definitely been offside. But there's people saying it was onside because it took a touch off Lovren. So comment below, let me know, what do you think? Do you believe it should have been onside or do you believe it should have been offside? Interested to find out. Anyway, look, Kane's penalty stepped up. He looked nervous as anything because he was saying he was, and this is what he said after the game, he was nervous because if he had scored, it was going to be his 100th Premier League goal. Anyway, he took what was quite possibly the worst penalty we've seen in the Premier League in some time, put it straight at Karius, and it looked like Spurs had blown it to take all 3 points away, especially when you consider that after that awful miss from Kane, up stepped Mo Salah with the most messiest goal we have probably seen in the Premier League. Just didn't have a right to score from where he was. It looked like he'd lost the ball, wins it back, takes on 4 players, cuts inside, and then pokes it past Lloris. Unbelievable finishing. For anyone who has ever wondered if Lionel Messi could make it in the Premier League, you just have to look at Mo Salah and say, yep, Messi will kill it in the Prem. Because as awesome as Salah is, Messi is a better version of him. He is just unbelievable. So, that's the big Messi question answered through Mo Salah. And it looked like the game was won. Klopp was running down the touchline, celebrating like they just won the Champions League. Bit overreaction, but okay. And then out of nowhere, Spurs got a throw. It was thrown into the box, flicked on, and Van Dijk kicked Lamela in the back of the leg. And, all right, it wasn't the hardest touch ever, but it was a penalty. Even Mark Lawrence on Match of the Day was saying it was a definite penalty. He made contact. Up stepped Harry Kane. Massive confidence this time. Really brave of him to do it because he knew exactly what he was doing. He was not going to let his nerves get the better of him this time. Put it in the corner. Got Tottenham a very well-earned draw. 2-2 stunning game. Pretty much the last kick of the game. Brought an end to what was a stunning game, but also picked up his 100th Premier League goal, of his career. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful moment for Harry Kane. And we definitely saw the best 2 goal scorers in the Premier League take all the headlines in Salah and Kane there. Only Alan Shearer has actually scored 100 goals quicker than what Harry Kane has in the Premier League. So Kane, if he stays at Spurs his whole career, is destined for massive, massive things. Now, moving on to the other fixtures away from the 2 major talking points from this weekend. Arsenal got back to winning ways in some fashion, destroying Everton at the Emirates 5-1. Aaron Ramsey picking up a hat-trick. Aubameyang scored on his debut, although it was offside. But still, lovely finish, dink over the top of the keeper. Mkhitaryan got 3 assists on his debut. And, I mean, Arsenal were just running rampant. They were 3 goals up in 19 minutes. 2 from Ramsey, 1 from Koscielny. They could have had 6 or 7. Monreal hit the post. Again, he's having a great season, especially when it comes to attacking. But then Everton, they could have pulled back 2 because Balassi had a chance. He hit the post. Theo Walcott came close as well. But yeah, I mean, it was just a wonderful performance from Arsenal. Abysmal performance from Everton. And their new signing, Mangala, on loan from City, had a debut to forget. He was at fault for 3 of Arsenal's 5 goals. So yeah, Big Sam really needs to sort Everton out quick if they're going to turn things around. But yeah, awful defeat for them. But big win for Arsenal following their defeat to Swansea during the week. Then the league leaders, runaway league leaders, Manchester City, they were held at Burnley. They took the lead through a stunning strike from Danilo. There were some amazing goals in the Premier League this weekend. Danilo's was right up there as well. And City have now scored in 25 of 26 of their Premier League games so far this season. The only team they failed to score against was Crystal Palace, quite amazingly. But look, City should have won this game. They had 75% ball possession. They were all over Burnley. They took the lead. They had such wonderful build-up play, but when it got to actually putting the ball in the back of the net, they were overplaying, and it really cost them big time. Didn't help that Sterling missed with easily the miss of the season so far. Pep was so angered by the miss, he shipped Sterling off the pitch. But yeah, I mean, I've also got to give credit to Burnley because as good as City were and as wasteful as they were, Burnley held on fantastically at times. And, you know, for the sheer fact that they managed to stay in the game and then score, Burnley deserved their point. Aaron Lennon was brilliant, forced an unbelievable save from Edison, who tipped his shot onto the post. But yeah, I mean, Pope was brilliant in goal for Burnley to keep them in it. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the equaliser, it was just wonderful build-up play from Burnley. Lowton's cross was perfect for Goodmanson to run onto on the half volley. And yeah, it was just a well-earned, well-fought draw for Burnley. City will be disappointed they didn't win the game. And I think the gap is now closed to, 13 points. But, I mean, title's theirs. Across the other side of Manchester United, they picked up an easy 2-0 home win against Huddersfield. Although 2-0 is a bit of a, it's a scoreline that puts Huddersfield in a good shade because it could have been a lot more. United didn't really need to get out of second gear, really, to get this win. They didn't play particularly well, but they didn't really need to. It was 2, should have definitely been 3. How Scott McTominay didn't win a penalty when he was completely wiped out by Mongolo in the box during aerial challenges beyond me. But at the end of the day, United went on to win. Romelu Lukaku got back onto the score sheet as well. Great finish from him. Only 5 goals in his last 18 Premier League games, though. When you consider the incredible start he made to the season, it's quite a shocking stat, that. But, maybe this could be a bit of a turning point now that Sanchez is in the team. He, of course, picked up his first goal for Manchester United. Missed the penalty, but then got the rebound because he wanted to score his first goal from open play. But, yeah, easy win for United. Huddersfield have now only kept 1 clean sheet in the last 10 games, which is very worrying. And there was a lot of scrutiny about how they played, especially towards Alexis Sanchez. He was fouled 7 times in the game alone, which is the joint most any player has been fouled in a game this season. So, yeah, he was definitely, without doubt, United's man of the match. Gave them something different, dragged them along when, it was looking like a bit of a tough day at the office for United in terms of getting that first goal. But they got the points, and that's all that matters. One other kind of key point from that is the fact that Paul Pogba was left on the bench for United. I think Jose was trying to make a point because him and Pogba fell out during the week when United lost to Spurs. It's going to be interesting to see how that develops moving forward because I'm not sure United are playing Pogba in the right position when they're trying to get into hole alongside Matic. He needs to be further forward, and I think United might have to make a big decision here of, who they're going to choose out, him and Lingard, because at the moment Lingard is playing unbelievable in that attacking role and deserves to be in that team. I think it's going to be resolved in the summer, though, because it sounds like United are going to bring in more defensive players and no more attackers. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that develops. Now, moving further down the table, there was a massive game at the bottom of the Premier League. West Brom 2, Southampton 3. I actually have West Brom to win this game because I thought they played so well at Anfield. But West Brom doing a bit of a West Brom thing, really, by putting in a performance like this. On the day, they remembered Cyril Regis as well. But Hegazi, he gave West Brom the lead with his first goal since the opening day. But then Lamina equalised with a screamer for Southampton. And, you know, from then on, Southampton went on to win the game. A wonderful free kick in there as well from James Ward-Prowse to win all 3 points. But, you know, it's a bitterly disappointing defeat for West Brom on such a big day for them. But massive 3 points for Southampton. Brighton, they also picked up a massive win at the bottom of the Premier League, beating West Ham 3-1 at home. Going into the game, Brighton were the lowest scorers in the Premier League and also had the joint worst goal-scoring record of any of Europe's top 5 divisions. But Glenn Murray quickly sorted that out with his 5th goal in 7 games, only for Javier Hernandez to equalise with a stunning strike. All 43 of his goals have come from inside the box in the Premier League in his career. But his goal was nothing compared to Escobedo's, who unleashed a screamer to give Brighton all 3 points effectively. And then Gross's goal was the first time the first time Brighton had scored 3 goals in a game since they beat West Ham 3-0 at the London Stadium earlier on this season. So yeah, massive 3 points for Brighton. West Ham will be bitterly disappointed considering this is their first defeat under David Moyes in the Prem. Another team that will be disappointed will be Stoke. They they took the lead against Bournemouth and looked like they had done enough to claw a victory, only for Bournemouth to turn it round and win the game 2-1. Ryan Shawcross is actually making his 400th appearance for Stoke in this game. But, you know, Josh King, he equalised with his 25th goal for Bournemouth in the Premier League. Only for Musset to win it with his first goal for Bournemouth after Shaqiri giving Stoke the lead early on. But, yeah, Bournemouth are now unbeaten in 7 games and up to 9th. And really, they're probably only 3 games away from sealing yet another season in the Premier League. Because 3 more wins will give them that all-important 40-point mark. And, you know, I really like Bournemouth as a team. I like Eddie Howe as a manager. So I really do hope they stay up. Then down to Leicester. They actually hosted Swansea. And, look, there's so much going on with Riyad Mahrez at the moment at Leicester. Whether or not it is having an effect on things. But Leicester were bitterly unlucky to not get a win in this game. Swansea did very, very well to get a point. They're actually out of the relegation zone because Carvajal really turned them around, especially after last night's result as well, getting 8 in the FA Cup. You know, they've really got some confidence about them again. So, yeah, Swansea will feel very happy they managed to get out of this game not losing. Iheanacho and also Diabate had their best games for Leicester so far, without a doubt. Iheanacho, he picked up the assist for Vardy, who gave Leicester the lead. But they were so unlucky to not make it 2-0 when Mawson produced an amazing block on the line for Swansea's point of view. But yeah, I mean, Diabate, he had a great game, but he was also pretty lucky to stay on the pitch. He probably should have had a red card in the opening couple of minutes for a high tackle on Klukas. But still, he stayed on the pitch, 11v11, that's what you want to see. But, you know, it's just a bit of luck. But then Swansea, they got their luck by getting themselves a point. But Leicester, as I said, unlucky not to win the game, but when you consider that they've gone from 18th to 8th under Claude Puel, it shows what a good job he's doing for them. They face Manchester City away in their next game. A game you wouldn't expect them to win, but I think they will give City a good old go, you know. And then finally, Newcastle and Crystal Palace played out a 1-1 draw at Selhurst Park in what was quite a tense game. Benteke and Zaha missed some massive chances in this game. Palace did deserve to win. It was a good away point for Newcastle, though. Kennedy looked impressive for them. But, yeah, Newcastle, Crystal Palace will just be so disappointed that they didn't pick up the win in this game. But at the same time, they also did pick up a fairly soft penalty. Yes, there was shirt pulling, but, I mean, how many times do you see shirt pulling happen in a Premier League game and nothing happen? And this one, for me, didn't look any worse than what you normally see. I didn't really think it had too much of an effect on Benteke jumping up. And then, especially when you look at later on in the game, there were worse cases of shirt pulling that weren't pulled up. There's just really bad refereeing inconsistencies here, and that is what needs to be addressed. But yeah, Palace will be bitterly disappointed. And that pretty much sums up everything that happened in this week of the Premier League. Please comment below, let me know what were your main talking points from this weekend's games. Always interested to find out. I will be back again on Friday with my Week 27 prediction, so please stay tuned for that. As always, I'm Aaron Whitnall. You've been watching ACW Sport, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel.